Hello guys, and welcome back, and we are going to take a look at Southern Cross Station. This is another map that is submitted to the Farming Simulator 17 map contest in the best map category. This map is to be based in Australia, but when we take a look, I think people will realize that you could imagine this being an American style map also. So let's just go ahead and jump on in. So we're going to go ahead and pick up our gator and load up the log. You see the log loading up. There's one error related to a dirt texture. Several bits of equipment. And we've got some errors with corrupt save game. When I've seen these, typically they'll go away after you save the game and reload your save game once. So I don't think that those are too terrible bad to have. So we start up here, quite an interesting start point. We basically start on the tower of a cell point. And it's a little disturbing for those that may be not so keen on heights, and because pretty much the only way of getting off this tower is to either jump or teleport to some other place. So let's take a look at the map. We are down here on the southern center of the map. You can see we've got some quite large fields, and we've got some fields that are kind of rather unique. They're at an angle. So field 11 would be rather interesting to harvest with AI because it's going to want to go directly north and south, and the field is kind of at an angle. So we have our standard crop types on this map. We start by owning fields 1, 5, 18, 19, and 21, and 16. Even on hard mode, we start with some crops in our silos. We have 3 main cell points, one of which is a train-only cell point. And then we have our standard biogas, spinnery, sawmill. We have manure and slurry buy points. And we have a fair bit of starting equipment, all new, all with low maintenance, and nothing is leased. Let's go ahead and take out a loan. Alright, so we have our standard animals, all 3. We have sheep, pigs, and cows. And nothing is in the various troughs. Our silos have a capacity of 100,000 liters, and we start out with 4 eggs. Alright, let's take a look at our starting equipment. So we have, what do we have? We've got we got 6 tractors here, it looks like, that range in horsepower from 125 all the way up to 288 horsepower. We have our front loader arms with a pallet fork, bale fork, and bucket. We have our telehandler with bucket, pallet, and bale fork. Looks like we have a semi, 2 harvesters, 2 sets of grain headers. We have the big crampy semi-trailer. We have 2 large cultivators, 2 large plows, 2 seeders. Do we have 2 of everything? 2 fertilized spreaders, 2 fertilized sprayers. We have 2 front mowers, windrow, forage wagon. We have around our square baler. We have overload wagons. So we pretty much have everything you're going to need with the TMR, and we have our fuel bowser. I'll get to the description in a minute. So let's go ahead and buy up our gator. Let's take a look at the shop. So here is our gator. Let's hit reset and see what happens to it. So it goes somewhere. Let's figure out where it is. So it's up here by field 1, and we're way down here. So we're going to, what do you say we do a little leap of faith here? And there we go. So like I said, we start here on the tower. It's kind of an interesting start point. And while we are here, let's, before we go to our main farm, let's just jump into one of the trains and take a tour around the map. So if you've seen my streams, you know that this train is a custom skin that I installed. It is not with the base map. I decided to change the train to a more American style train for my preference, so that's what we are in. So we are going to take a little tour around the map. I'm going to fix the description for the guys in chat that are screaming about it, and I'll be right back. So this shouldn't take the screen away when I jump away. Alright, there we are. It should be back. I had changed it, but it didn't hold. So one thing on this map that I'm not too overly keen about is the edge here. It's pretty abrupt and pretty obvious. As you know from other videos, I really like when the edges just blend and just they're basically like infinity edges. They just keep on going. But this one is very obvious where the edge is. So here we have a train transfer station to transfer our grain from our tipper to our train, or vice versa. I'll try not to get over there, but I do want to see that side of the map. We'll just have to wait until we get a little further from the edge. I do like the culverts there, the drainage culverts. Here we can see some of the fields. It's a fairly flat map overall. We'll pull up the main map to kind of get a representation of where we are. So there are two trains. They do take different paths, so once we get done this little tour, we will jump in the other train and take it a ride. So here's our sawmill. We have a crane. Pretty standard FS17 sawmill. Coming to the town here. Looks to be pretty standard Gold Crest Valley structures. There's the tower right there in the middle of the screen. That's where we had, that's our career start point. That's where we took our leap. See our BGA is coming up here. And we're coming back around to our train station. We have a large field of grass here that we will be able to make use of. Alright, let's take a tour on this one. Alright, so this train doesn't take quite a long tour around. This is our train only sell point. Really like the really like the grain bins there. Try to get a different angle. So Braden in chat's asking if any of these maps are coming out for consoles. You're going to have to ask the map authors for that. The map authors will have to specifically submit them for review for console, and there are some very specific rules set to for a map to work for a console. I am not overly familiar as to what those are. I just know that I've seen in the forums people post that it's a fairly easy, not super easy, but compared to getting it in for console, it's a lot easier to get them in for PC. And there's a fair bit of work to have to do to get them ready for console. So I do like the water. The water reflections and everything are really nice on this. Alright, so that's basically our tour of the two trains. Hopefully this one will clear the tracks. Good. So let's see, is this our gator? Alright. So let's start here and take a look around the main farmyard. So here we have our silo, our tip in, and it looks like our tip out. That shouldn't be our tip out, that's too low. Is this our silo out? No. Where is our out pipe? Well, we'll just pull this up and... Oh, there it is. So here is our silo out pipe. So on the console question, I'd say take a look at who submitted this map, and try to contact them in the forums and just see if it's a priority to them. Tell them you're interested in this on console, and they may be able to resubmit it after the contest for consideration in console. Or if there are changes that they need to make to the map, they won't be allowed to make those until after the contest is over. So here we've got one of our harvesters. There's our fuel trailer. Additional equipment. So we've got lots of fairly large equipment storage in here. There we have our customization and repair area. So we have to look at some of the map or some of the fields a bit better, but I think this may be a pretty good candidate for very large equipment, i.e. the big bud pack. We've got some more equipment scattered around here. Here's our baling equipment. Let's just see. We warp through that. That's a disappointment. I like when these have collisions and I can jump on top of them. I have our water point. Alright, let's go over here and get our cows going. Let's see how big of an area the cows have to wander. Alright, so there's our buy point. Oh, we have steaming slurry. Do we have steaming? No, we do not have a steaming pile of manure. We have a grass trough here. It looks like the cows have a fairly big area to roam in. Alright, so let's find our water trough. Looks like it's over here. So we have our water trough and then our standard silage or TMR trough here. Additional storage, and these probably have collisions, so we could tip anywhere into them. Yep, we can see the big red collision boxes on those. And we have our silage bunker for our cows. Here we have our our water trough for our pigs. Feed trough, and this is pretty standard Farm Sim 17 pig area. They do have a nice covered area here to get out of the shade. That's nice. And where's our straw blow-in point? That should be right here. So here's where we blow our straw in. What else we got? Let's make our way over here to our chickens and our sheep. Here's our slurry point for our pigs. Another ramp. We're just going to take a quick dip in the river. Another plow. We've got some more sheds over here. More equipment stored. I doubt this silo does anything. It's probably just decoration. Here's our chickens. I love these contained chickens. I'm not a big fan of the self-running chickens, especially when the eggs are all over the place. So we have our water trough or grass trough, and where looks like we might get our sheep over here. Yep, let's load up our sheep. Alright. And our wool point. I like these overhanging buildings. I don't know what they're really called. The sheep have this nice red building here. They could, in theory, walk up into that, I guess. Kind of get out of the sun. They've got a fairly large area to roam in. Plenty of trees, plenty of shade. Alright, so that basically is the main farm. It's rather spread out, rather spacious. I think there's plenty of flat space here if you wanted to put in buildings of your own. We got a fan running on our silo to dry things out. Plenty of room for very large equipment to be pulled in. So let's jump back here to our gator and start driving around. Pretty much as we saw, everything to the north is just fields. So all the interesting sell points are to the south. We will go up. I do want to check out this area. I do want to check out that, figure out what that might be. But beyond that, we're just going to focus down here on the southern half of the map. Oops. All right. Let's just go ahead and zoom out. I think we can drive that way. Let's see here. Where did we want to go? We want to go this way, right? So, for those of you in chat, what do you all think of this map? I know you weren't too keen on the map edge. It's one of the lesser quality map edges that we've seen in the map contest. That's for sure. So some of these fields have fences, but we do have wide open entry areas with respect to bringing in big equipment. We'll need to check out and see how big some of these field sizes are. Looks like due to the bushes, some of these fields you might not be able to easily join together if you wanted to do that. Alright. Let's go up here and just check out the field sizes on a few of these big fields. Field 6 is just 6 hectares, 6.7 hectares, $545,000. Let's see here. We'll make our way back around to Field 2. We won't need to teleport there. Field 2 is easily the biggest field on the map. Hey Mark, what's up? Howdy Quebec, country girl. I don't know if you've been here the whole time or if you just jumped back in. So the fields are big, but I don't think this is a 4X map. Based on how quick my little gator here can drive around. He's only motoring at 33 miles an hour. I don't feel that this is a 4X map. We'll know when we get down to Field 2 how big that is. So this map, according to the mod hub, is to be an Australian map. But I was mentioning earlier that it really could be somewhere in the maybe the western U.S. Also, the trees are a little bit. The trees might give it away a little bit. But the main farm is very wide open. There's lots of flat area. The whole map is basically flat. There's a train that circumnavigates the map. The animals have very large areas to roam around in. And the farm is over here, so that's the main farm. It continues on for quite a distance. So let's check out Field 2. So Field 2 is 40 hectares, so this is not a 4X map. If it was a 4X map, the way that field is, that would be probably like a 90 hectare field. And then field 3 is 13. So there's field 2. If this was a 4x map and it took up that much space, it would probably be like a 90 hectare map, a 90 hectare field, I think. But I might be wrong. I'm no super map expert, that's for sure. So yeah, the trees do look a bit different. Not sure how they will be affected by the Seasons mod. I know that there's been some talk about various trees. If they're not standard farm sim trees, they may not behave quite right. Alrighty. Let's make our way over here down to the sawmill. We got a large storage building here for our... We're just going to cheat. We're going to cheat. So I always like to see if this crane works. Sometimes you get cranes that don't work. They usually work, but sometimes they don't. Looks like this one is a functioning crane. Alright. So if you like to play the crane game, you can play the crane game all you want on this map. I am not too keen on playing the crane game myself. So we have a sell point for wood chips, and obviously our logs are going to be around the other side. Let's just go ahead and find that. So I think that icon is misplaced. It should probably be over there where the crane is. There's our log wood sell point. Alright, let's try to figure out how we should have came into the sawmill. Let's get a little better contrast. Alright, so let's go down here. This is that main town where all of the other sell points basically are, other than the BGA. So we're going to hit these. We're going to hit the BGA, and then, like I said, I wanted to check out this. I want to check out this structure over here. Figure out what that is, and then we'll call this a map done. Let's see. Let's see if we can get there from here. I think we'll be able to get there from here. We'll drive first person for a little bit, get another angle on our trees and on the general landscape itself. So I will note that lots of the roads are not overly obvious on the PDA, so trying to figure out how to navigate may be a bit confusing until you can memorize the streets. Here we got some general shops. We have our bakery. So bakery a buy point. Looks like we have a buy point down here for wool. Again, this edge of the map just makes everything look off. It's like those pictures where everything looks like little play cars, but they're real life pictures based on how everything is zoomed. That's kind of that's kind of the feel you get when you look at this. You know, you kind of feel like that's a play car. Well, it is a play car, but you know, you kind of get the hint that that's not a real car because of how it's super sharp focused and everything in the background is a little blurry. So here we have our sell point for wool. Let's see, looks good here. So here we have a sell point. Looks like they could use some grass work. And this particular sell point is the bakery. So the bakery takes all of our normal crops, including sugar beets and potatoes. And here we have our animal buy point. So in the other map that we looked at, so we can buy all our animals in one spot. The Polish map that we just got done looking at, we had to go to a unique buy spot for each animal. But we do have 3 loading gates, so that kind of helps with the each animal has its own loading gate. Alright, so let's make our way this way. We're getting a little frame hit on some of the stuff here. We've got a little grass field over there we can use. So here's our Morgan massive motors with lots of nice decorative deco objects just hanging around. Hawks 23 tractors and I guess engines. So here we have our sell point and our customization point at the shop. We've got some products out here on display. That's pretty nice. Oops. So for those of you that weren't here at the start of the stream, I just want to point out that your career start point is at the top of that tower. So when you jump into this map for the first time and on every subsequent load of this game, you're going to warp in at the top of the tower. And as I said, you kind of have 2 choices. You can either jump or teleport to another location. Looks like here we have a hay, straw, and grass sell point. And let's see if this is for fertilizer over here, or if this is just decoration. So there are boxes here. So I would assume that you could buy liquid fertilizer from here. And there we have the train sell point over there. And there's a, looks like we have a competing equipment dealer on this side of the street. Alright, so we've got one more sell point, and that's over here by the train only. The train only sell point actually does have a tip, whoops, wrong way. Actually does have a tip spot for us to tip grain in if we have a trailer also. Looks like we've got some people cutting across the way to get to the road. Making their own way. And here we have the final sell point on the map. So let's try to make our way over to the biogas plant. We'll zoom out so we have a bit more of a picture of the whole map. So once we're done with this map, I'm going to take a break for lunch and we'll come back in about an hour. It is noon for me, so that will give you a general time reference as to what time it is for you all. And I will fire up the last 3 maps at 1 p.m. my time, which is approximately 1 hour from now. And we will hammer out the last 3 maps in the mod contest. I'm basically doing these in alphabetical order, so once I get done driving here and get on the ground at the BGA, I will tell you the names of the 3 maps we're going to do this afternoon. Alright, that does not get me into the BGA, does it? Looks like we'll have to go this way. Oh, there's that interesting, that's the train depot. Alright. Here's our BGA. We got our pretty contemporary BGA for the FS17. We got our Silo King. We got our scale. We get our digest A tank, and we have our bunkers. Pretty much where everything is by default. Not a big shocker there. These all have triggers. Excellent. Alright, so let's talk about what maps we're going to look at next. So after lunch, we're going to look at the Italian Farm version 1. Then we're going to move on to Vanilla Valley version 3, which I have to say, when I first saw the name, I thought, oh, this is going to be a pretty plain Jane map with, Vanilla Valley. That is the furthest thing from the truth with this map. It is a very beautiful map, lots of custom textures and crazy crop types. And then we're going to wrap up with Windsbach, which is another wonderful map that we will finish on. So those are the 3 maps that we will do this afternoon at 1 p.m. my time, which is about 55 minutes from now. So, you know what? I'm thinking that that structure over there that I wanted to look at is the train station. So, if that's the case, we don't really need to look at it because we've already been there. Yep, this looks like it's just a train station. We've got some nice. It would be nice if this wasn't just a transfer station. If this was maybe a sell point for corn, because I'm sure that this is. I'm sure that's corn. No, that's grain of some type. Looks like wheat. So it'd be cool if this was some type of sell point for wheat also, since we have these huge piles of wheat grain here. But alas, we don't. That's the map. So that is Southern Cross. Like I said, we will come back in about 55 minutes to wrap up the last 3 maps. Hope to see you all then. Until next time, happy farming.